Well, you have been found guilty of a howling showbiz crime. So it looks like you are going to prison, but this isn't no normal prison as it features a talent show, where prisoners can earn their freedom by performing their very best in front of an audience. Yes, it's The Slammer, the show that aired for 6 seasons from 2006 to 2014 with Ted Robbins as the governor and Ian Kirkby as Officer Frank Burgess. It also featured Lee Barnett as the governor's nephew Jeremy for 4 seasons and Scarlett Hazeldine as Officer Holly for the last 2 seasons when the show was called The Slammer Returns. The show has a sketch at the beginning for the first 10 or so minutes and then we get to the Freedom Show. So now that we have the background, let's take a look at a couple of episodes. First up, Season 2, we join the show with some breaking news that tap legend Lionel Blair has been sentenced for doing a bad foxtrot. We see him come out of a police station as all of a sudden he appears in the flesh in front of the governor. The governor explains Blair is on the top of their most wanted list as Blair insults him by calling him fat. They take his mugshot as the governor then announces who is in the Freedom Show this week. The governor says Blair's time will come one day as he then wants to see some of his moves. But Blair gets nervous and makes excuses. Frank tells him not to get smart as he then says he was the best tap dancer around. Frank says Blair is acting a little suspicious as he demands Blair to do some dancing. Blair makes more excuses as the governor throws him in jail. We see Peter depressed as Melvin has been released. Jeremy checks on Peter as they put Blair in the cell. Blair tries to make friends with Peter as Peter is still upset. Blair is looking through some CDs as Peter tells him they were Melvin's CDs. He then says he is dressed like Melvin. Blair tries to explain something as Jeremy then comes in and says Blair needs to come with him right away as Frank has ordered something. All of a sudden Frank comes out and starts to dance as they compete for some teas made. They dance like crazy as Blair then falls off the stage. Blair celebrates losing as he then reveals he is Melvin all along. Peter hugs him as everyone is confused. Frank wants to know where the real Blair is as we see him located in some forest. The governor is annoyed with Melvin as Frank gives him some punishments. The Freedom Show then starts as the governor pulls the lever. So we see the governor introduce the show to the audience as he shows off. He tells us who is performing tonight as the first act performs. They come on as they sort of do some comedy. They get a kid from the audience to lift the suitcase as they continue messing about. It is pretty funny at some points as they play with some blackboard. The act is over as the audience gives us some feedback. The next act comes on and does some unicycling. It's alright, nothing outstanding. I say that like I can do it. The act gets escorted off as we get some more audience feedback. The third act starts as it is just Michael Jackson but in the dark. It is very good as he dances around. He then fights his friend as the act ends. Frank gets some more feedback as the kid doesn't really add anything.
Yeah, that was good.
All of a sudden Melvin rushes onto the stage with pants on his head. He dances like no tomorrow as it's quickly over. The final act then turns up as some Russians perform with some bendy pole. It's pretty thrilling as they show off their skills. We get some final feedback on the acts as we then get to the vote. The audience clap for their favorite as the first act win. The cops escort them out as the credits then roll. Everyone else is locked up for the rest of their lives as we then see an after-show scene of the real Lionel Blair turn up to the prison. The cop doesn't believe him, so tells him to get lost as the episode ends. So this second episode is from Season 5 as we catch the governor writing a letter to Jeremy as he is in the hospital after an accident. His tea spills everywhere as we then see the governor interview for the new role. The woman reveals she is scared of phones. We then get a man who says he used to be a prisoner, so the governor chucks him out quickly. We then see some old guy who the governor doesn't want as we finally meet Holly as she explains she had to rescue someone from a pond. She explains what she is going to do if she was hired. The governor likes these ideas, so hires her. Frank meets Holly as Frank explains it is the hardest prison around. Holly thought it was only for entertainment as Frank then tells a story about Tricky Timmy and how he used to saw the prison officers in half. Frank then gives Holly the rules as they spell out his name. Holly wants to sing as Frank walks off. Frank tries to teach Holly to walk as someone comes over and laughs at her. Frank walks over her as the guy says sorry. He says he isn't a good comedian. Holly thinks she isn't a good copper as she then explains what she wants to do. The comedian agrees with her as they come up with a plan. Frank then orders Holly to stare him out as she does it. Frank is happy as he then makes her walk once more. Everyone is frightened of her as she then shouts. Everyone runs as Frank ticks everything off the list. The governor is happy as the show then starts. The governor pulls the lever as it's show time. The governor announces the new recruit as he then talks about the acts coming up tonight. The first act comes out, it's some Michael Jackson dancing thing again. It is amazing as Frank gathers feedback from the audience. Next we have some magician as he comes onto the stage and does some mind reading. He covers his head as he tries to get the right celebrity. He picked Spider-Man as he then comes out as Spider-Man and that's it as he is escorted off. They gather more feedback as we then get to the break as it is time for the solitary confinement act. If the act is good they get a cell upgrade, if it is bad they get a punishment, so let's see them. Frank chooses a judge as the act comes out. It's some dads doing One Direction. It's pretty poor as the judge then decides to give them the punishment. They give her a picture of the governor as the dads are thrown into space. So we continue on with the show as the third act comes on and does some bike tricks. It's alright, nothing outstanding. The audience gives feedback as they just say it is good. The final act performs that it is the same act as before. We see them doing their comedy again as they do some robot thing. Frank gets Holly to do the feedback as the acts then come back onto the stage to get the votes. The audience claps as the same act wins freedom once again. They get escorted out as Frank gives the remaining acts some sloppy ploppy porridge. The governor wraps up the show as Frank gives the prisoners a bedtime story as the episode ends. Overall the Slammer was a great show from the little sketches at the start of the show to the talent part that is the main part of the show. It is always exciting to watch to find new talent and just have a good laugh. Overall it was a great watch. So thank you for watching. If you have any TV shows you like to see me do, put them in the comments.